is up? Welcome to Every Single Guitars, where the goal of this channel is to review every single guitar ever made. Today I have a guitar that I've been pretty excited to review. I'm always excited to review guitars, but obviously, just like in life, there are certain things that you like more than others. And it is the case for this guitar I have right here. I have a 2019 PRS Silver Sky John Mayer Signature Edition guitar in mock sand finish. So for those who keep up with this channel, I did release a strictly tone review of this guitar. So if you want to check that out, I'll probably post a link somewhere in this video. But I decided to hold off for a little bit of reviewing this guitar because even though I got this, a couple months back, this is a guitar that I've actually been really excited to play and try out myself. So I wanted to spend a couple weeks, couple months to truly play this guitar a lot and then give it my overall genuine impression. For those of you guys who don't know, I'm a huge John Mayer fan. Huge John Mayer fan. In high school, I worshiped this man, basically. I had a huge poster of John Mayer. Not on my wall, but on the roof, on the ceiling of my room. That's how much I love this man. So every morning when I would wake up and open my eyes, the first thing I'd see would be the face of John Mayer looking down on me from the ceiling. I was obsessed and maybe a little bit unhealthy, but to me, and till this day, I view this guy as one of the greatest guitar players of all times. So when John Mayer released his PRS signature model, I was really excited to try out the guitar and play the guitar. So I'll tell you what I think about this guitar. So a little backstory of John Mayer's signature guitar lines. John Mayer is primarily a Fender player. He's primarily a Fender Stratocaster player. In his collection, he has a huge guitar collection. He has several different models. Sometimes you see him play a Telecaster, Cabronita style Telecaster. Sometimes you see him play a Gibson ES335. Sometimes you see him play, Martin acoustics. Sometimes he plays a Duesenberg, which surprised me actually because I didn't think that he would like guitars of that sort. But basically, the man has a bunch of guitars. For guitar players like us, even if we have a lot of guitars, there's usually the main collection of guitars that we play more than the others. And for him, and as well for me, it is the Fender Stratocaster. So in the past, John Mayer has had a good relationship with Fender, and I think he still has a good relationship, but a lot of the models that he released of his signature line was with Fender. I know a couple years back, he released a Black One Stratocaster, as well as, a white Fender Strat with a rosewood neck. A couple years back in high school, I owned a John Mayer signature Strat. It was like the Sunburst with the tortoise pickguard. Basically, a lot of the guitars that he released was with Fender. So when John Mayer finally decided to release this guitar with PRS, it came as a shock to a lot of people. PRS, I don't even think John Mayer ever worked with PRS or played PRSs from what I've seen before the Silver Sky. When I think of PRS, the first thing I think of is Carlos Santana. But when John Mayer decided to team up with PRS to release the Silver Sky, there were some controversial debates online from what I've seen, different reviews of some people hating on the Silver Sky, hating on John Mayer. Why would John Mayer team up with PRS to release a Stratocaster? Oh, PRS is making a knockoff version of the Stratocaster. This is terrible. But, for those kind of hate comments that I've read, it just kind of confused me because there's so many brands out there that model their guitars off the Strat. Most notably Sir guitars. That literally is a Stratocaster except for the headstock. And that's the same thing as this. If I covered this part minus the bird inlays, this is basically a Stratocaster. So, when I heard that kind of hate remarks, it just kind of confused me a little bit. But regardless, I feel like once the Silver Sky did come out and people started playing it more, people started having more experience with it, I feel like as the months and years, or 1 year or 2 years has gone by, I feel like the Silver Sky has gotten a lot more appreciation from guitar players because overall, just from a guitar standpoint, I mean, this is an excellent guitar. There's really nothing you can hate about this other than the fact that he teamed up with PRS, which is, I mean, who cares? It's John Mayer. He can do whatever he wants, you know? So my first impression of this guitar, it really does look like a Strat. You know, from far away, you know, like I said, minus the headstock and the bird inlays, it's literally a Fender Stratocaster. The body design is basically a Fender Stratocaster. There's some minor differences, like right here, it's kind of different from a Strat. You know, if you look even closer, the selector tip for the 5-way switch is a little bit different. The knobs are a little bit different looking. I feel like just in general, these knobs are much more sensitive to touch than any standard Strat that I have. So basically, if you just put a little bit of strength, it's very easy to turn the knobs. So sometimes when you're strumming and you hit the knobs, you may change the volume a little bit. But for me, that's not a big issue at all. I actually started to like this type of knob because it's so easy to control the settings of when you're playing. You know, the whammy bar design is also a little bit different. The standard Strat whammy bar, if you have the whammy, you have to twist it in, but this is just a push-pull option for the whammy bar. So I don't have the whammy with me right now, but basically if I have the bar, I could literally just push it in, and if I want to take it out, take it, push it out, or pull it out. But for me, I don't use the whammy at all, so it's not really a big issue. But other than these minor differences of the Strat of this guitar, everything else is basically a Stratocaster. And that's exactly what John Mayer wanted when he worked with Paul Reed Smith. I believe he modeled this guitar after an early 60s Fender Stratocaster. I think it's like a 62 Strat or a 63. Basically, he took those specs of the early 60s Strat and built this guitar to model after the early Stratocaster. But overall, I think this guitar is an excellent quality guitar, just a great guitar in general. The neck is a very comfortable neck. John Mayer, he has really big hands. If you see him play, his hands are massive. So it makes sense why he wanted to use this kind of neck profile. This isn't a slim neck at all. It's not a fat neck, but I'd say it's a little bit thicker than a modern C. For me personally, I also have pretty big hands. So to me, this neck is extremely comfortable, and it's probably one of the best feeling necks that I've ever played on a guitar, and probably one of the most comfortable necks that I own right now. So while the body and the neck design is pretty much a Strat, I say the biggest difference between this guitar, this PRS, and a standard Fender Stratocaster is probably the headstock. Obviously, the headstock is not a Fender style headstock, and apparently this isn't a PRS headstock either. I don't own PRS. This is my first PRS I've ever bought, but apparently the standard PRS headstock shape is reversed. I don't know why they made it inversed, but apparently, you know, there's more room here. So when you play, you can put your fingers here more, but I mean, I don't know anyone who plays like this, who stretches their finger all the way down here. I'm not sure, maybe it's a different playing style, but for me, inverse or not inverse, I feel like it make no difference. The tuners are very high quality tuners. These tuners, I've actually never seen these types of tuners. Maybe it's just a PRS thing. Like I said, I don't have much experience with PRS, but this is like a locking type of tuner. On the top, there's like this screw. If you want to take out the strings, you gotta twist this, put the strings in, and then twist the back to lock the tuners. Very high quality tuners. In fact, I think that these are the best quality tuners that I own on a guitar, which is pretty surprising. You know, some people also hated on the tuner pegs, the tuning peg material. You know, the argument was, oh, the PRS Silver Sky is $2,300. Which is pretty expensive for a guitar. For any type of guitar, that's a large investment to make. And they were like, why would they use plastic tuners? And I think these are plastic, you know, these definitely do feel like plastic. It definitely doesn't feel like metal, but at the same time, these are not cheap quality plastic by any means. Maybe they went with the plastic other than the metal to save some cost when making this guitar. But for me personally, these are very high quality tuning pegs, metal or not metal. I don't get the sense that these will break or tarnish or get ruined anytime soon. You know, maybe 10, 20, 30 years later, maybe it had some problems, but as of now, this is not by any means a cheap tuner. And I actually like this tuning color because it matches the body. It matches the mock sand finish, and it also matches the the tungsten, silver tungsten finish or whatever. For me, I wanted the tuners to match the body color, so I decided to go with the mock sand finish, and not disappointed at all. So while the construction on this guitar is excellent, I'd say that the reason why I've decided to keep this guitar in my main collection is because of these pickups. These pickups, it's called the PRS 635JM, which I assume stands for John Mayer. I don't know what they did to these pickups. I don't know how they built it, but just from a sound standpoint, a tone standpoint, dude, these pickups sound hella good. I mean, every position is solid. The bridge, the middle, the neck, you know, the in-between switches, you know, the 2 and the 4, all of them sound very, very good. Usually for me, when it comes to guitars, I keep certain guitars because of how it sounds in certain selectors. So one of my Tellys, it has a great neck sound, but the bridge sound, to me, is not that good compared to the other ones. But still, since the neck position of that Telly is so good, I decided to keep it. And that's like the theme for a lot of my guitars. You know, there's certain tones of a guitar that's good enough for me to keep, even if all the tones don't sound good. But specifically for this PRS Silver Sky, all the tone switches sound very good, very high quality. I'm mainly a clean channel, blues, you know, sometimes rock, punk type of guy. Sounds great for all those genres that I've played. No issues when it comes to sound. These pickups I will never change. Anything on this guitar I will never change. But sometimes if the pickups aren't good, I may swap it out. But everything of this guitar is perfect how it is. So if I had to rate this guitar, tone, this is probably 9 out of 10. Build, this is probably 9 out of 10. You know, truly nothing bad to say about this guitar specifically. If there was something that I would have to, you know, criticize, or something that I don't really like, is how this guitar does not come with a hard shell case. I just don't understand that. You know, I get how a gig bag and a hard shell case serves different functions, but for me personally, if you're spending over $1,000 on a guitar, you should get a hard shell case no matter what. No exception, you know. But nowadays, a lot of the guitar companies, including Fender, including Gibson, including Martin, sometimes they don't include a hard shell case. They have like a gig bag, a really high quality gig bag, but still it's not a hard shell case. For this is over $2,000, $2,300. Bro, you need a hard shell case for this. This has to come with a hard shell case. I don't get why they included a PRS gig bag, but at the same time, that's nothing related to the guitar. Just from a guitar review, just from a guitar perspective, excellent guitar, high quality guitar. If you're a huge John Mayer fan and you like the Strat and you like good sounding pickups, you like the bird inlays, something a little bit different, I suggest checking this guitar out, because PRS and John Mayer, Paul Reed Smith and John Mayer, they made one hell of a guitar. This is a very good guitar, and like I said, a guitar that I will keep in my collection probably until I die. I just love John Mayer so much. I should put a photo of John Mayer on the headstock just for fun. But overall, excellent guitar.